All right, guys, welcome to today's video. This one is a live call recording with me, Enzo, and Lucas. This is a private inner circle where I give mentorship and coaching. These two guys are actually now I like to call them my friends. You know, they initially started as just two students within my mentorship program. They joined, I think, like over 6 months ago, maybe 8, 9 months ago now. And they've scaled their agency way past $10, $15, $20,000 a month. And this is just a general open-ended conversation with the three of us. It was kind of unplanned, but I just pressed record anyway, and I thought this is going to be some value for you guys. We talk everything on higher level. So how do we really scale the right infrastructures, the right and wrong staff members? How do we really scale once you're already at like 10, 15, 20K a month? I drop in some insane value here, so make sure you watch the entire way, because at the end I start talking to Enzo and going over his issues and how he can overcome them. So make sure you check out this entire video, leave a like, also check out the links down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah, my personal advice on like hiring people, especially until you get to like 50K a month, is yeah, you don't want staff members who are entrepreneurial, like who have had their own businesses or actively working on something on the side, etc. You do ideally just want somebody who is just solely focused in on this one mission and working with you and helping you build your empire. But what's actually very interesting is and this was a mindset shift only like this, actually, I think last month. I was going to say this year, but it was literally last month, a couple of weeks ago. The bigger you get, once you get to like 100K, 150K, the two best things that you could do is one, poach really, really good staff members from other businesses within obviously the same industry. Because they already have the skill. They already, if anything, they actually might have different strategies, different skills that you didn't even know about. And all of a sudden that brings a new method over to your business that you didn't even know about. You know, for example, a shift manager, chat and team manager, especially marketing teams, if they know systems and ways to get more fans and make more money for your agency than you didn't know of, well, yeah, you will have to pay them a lot fucking more than the average person who's starting from nothing, but it's worth it. You know, because if he brings in a strategy and that strategy can make anywhere between 5 to 15 to 20K per model per month, well, yeah, sure. Even if you pay him $4,000 or $5,000 a month, it might seem like a very expensive staff member, like employee, but actually realize the ROI that he's bringing. You know.
Yeah,
And then the other thing is, yeah, entrepreneurial like staff members at a higher level, depending on the role. Like obviously as a chatter or as like a very click this, then do that. That you do not need an entrepreneurial staff member. But for people that are like client relationship managers, people that do like the actual sales and onboarding, people that are within like the marketing department, so head of marketing, coming up with strategies, making sure they're actually executed, making sure the wall posts are aligned. So like, for example, we've just recently doing like the Easter, Easter's what, 4 days away? And we're doing a campaign for that. But this was like a massive flaw within my own company, right? It's like we've got the guy. Well, I guess I came up with some of the ideas, but I wouldn't say all of them. And we've come up with the ideas. We've got some of the marketing done. We've got some of the chatting done, as in like we've prepared the mass messages. But then there's not enough scripts created, like with the what is it called? Easter themed like scripts. So then it's like, all right, well, like how the fuck did we miss that? You know, we need somebody in the middle there to kind of make sure everything is aligned. But yeah, no, definitely, bro. When you're starting out, you do not want to hire people who already have a side business and so on. That'll be a shit show.
yeah, yeah. No, correct. Very, very true. In terms of like, you're talking about marketing teams and like people for marketing, what would you say you really need if you're outsourcing Reddit and Twitter? Other than like a content planner, someone that just like makes the ideas.
So the two main ones, besides Twitter and Reddit, because you guys know obviously the people that I use and I outsource it to, the two main people, one of them is different per model, which is the in-person videographer. And that can be their friend. They can be their boyfriend, girlfriend, just a friend, whatever, right? Just somebody who can come round and help them record content in person. But that one is different per model, obviously. Whereas the one person that we have in-house is there's one guy who does the editing and posting for our like A-tier clients. A-tier being like obviously the models that we have on board, who we do the full done for you service. We do everything for them. everything from the stories to obviously editing the reels, posting the reels, TikToks, and everything. He's based in the UK, and again, this goes back to what I was speaking about earlier, right? He came from another agency. He helped this one model scale from about 20,000 to over 160K a month. And the way he was able to do that is kind of like the Tate method, kind of like repurposing short form content and just doing it at mass scale, having like 8 to 16 accounts. He's already got multiple, again, like here's another example, right? He already had multiple iPhones. Not only does he already know what he's doing and he's got the proof of concept, he also physically has the equipment, right? Whereas imagine I try to hire just a random 18-year-old who's just in college or whatever and about to go in, no, I think that you go uni at like 2021. But let's just say he's in sixth form or college, you know, he has no idea about any of this. I've got to train him. I've got to teach him so many things. I've got to buy him iPhones and all these things. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, this also ties back into that conversation I had earlier. At scale, once you really starting to kind of, you know, really scale this stuff, that's when you want to hire people who already have a bunch of experience. But yeah, for the marketing, we just have that one guy who does the editing and posting. He also, by the way, it's him plus another guy who comes up with the content ideas. So, for example, we have one guy who finds us a bunch of short form content ideas that go viral, and then we kind of just add a spin to it to match our client's theme. So if it's like the motorbike, if it's fishing, if it's golfing, if it's tennis, if it's cooking, if it's cleaning, whatever, we'll kind of add a spin to that so it fits their theme. And we have funny enough, the chatting team manager. So not the shift manager, the chatting team manager. He's the one that comes up with the not safe for work content ideas. So there's like two different main people who come up with content ideas: the safe for work for social media, and then the not safe for work for like scripts, customs, and so on.
Yeah. I'm assuming he'll come up with the OF wall ideas as
Yeah,
well.
correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah. Okay. Makes perfect sense.
But at the moment, you've got two chatters, yeah?
Three.
Three.
One,
Okay.
two just starting out. One's kind of, a week or two in.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, mainly just like my main focus now is to just like transfer my knowledge of chatting like into his. Literally, like that's what my mindset is, like a computer generator from my
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
to his about sales. Just trying to find the best methods to do that, like sharing Loom videos that I mentioned the other day, and making loads of documents. But it's hard, you know. It is quite hard because you'll explain stuff and just miss out little things, and then you'll pick it up and you'll go, fuck out. Like he's made a huge mistake, but it's my fault.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, you kind of learn over time, right? But I think the best thing that you could do, I remember on the previous inner circle at the group coaching call that we done, you mentioned that you're already doing the Loom videos and you're kind of creating like a little mini course, you know, for your internal team on specifically that. The best way you do that, by the way, is you reverse engineer whatever you're trying to teach them. And like, AKA, you start at the end. So if it's chatting, for example, the last thing that you want to perhaps, I mean, chatting, there's so many things, but you kind of want to do
Yeah.
like a bird's eye view, you know, in different like milestones. The last one being you've sold a full script, let's just say, right? There's actually more steps, such as how do you re-engage old subscribers, expired subs? How do you get whales to come back and all these things? But let's just say from a bird's eye point of view, the last milestone, especially for a new chatter who has no idea what the fuck we're even talking about here, and the last milestone is they've sold a full script. Okay, what's the step before that? Well, then before that they need to learn how to actually initiate the script, right? What's the step before that? Well, they need to learn what even is a script. Okay, what's a step before that? They need to understand what do you do when a new fan comes on the account, right? How do you like do the little small talk, etc., etc.? How do you initiate the actual script? What do you do before that? Before that, you need to teach them the interface of Inflow. What is Messages Pro? What does like each little tab mean? What does each little icon mean? How do you understand how much the fan has spent? What's their spending habits and so on? What's a golden ratio? Then before that, right, you explain what even is OnlyFans. Like, why do
OnlyFans, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Why do guys go on there and they spend money, right? And all of a sudden, if you now go the other way, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. And you
Whereas if
cover
you,
it.
right? Exactly. Whereas if you just spoke to them about, okay, this is how you make more money through scripts, they're like, what the fuck is this? Like, why scripts? Why don't I just sell them random photos and videos, right? And you need to kind of
Yeah.
explain to them in a chronological order, and then they understand. The same with every other aspect of your business, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So this reverse engineering, is that how I teach them or how I just paint it in my brain and then I teach them from,
Correct.
start
Second,
to finish.
second things, the latter,
Okay,
what you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
yeah. So it's
Right,
just
yeah.
how you understand to put to structure the training. Yeah, you don't actually teach them that way. Yes, this is a good. I'm glad you actually said that. Yeah, just to make it clear.
Yeah.
That's just for
Yeah.
you to like write it down so you can visually see it. Okay, like milestone, 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 milestone. Okay, let me start with this, and then go that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely. By the way, the other thing as well, what I'd highly recommend is it's good to kind of do the Loom videos when you're at scale and you're hiring 3 to 12 people a week. If you're really scaling, you're getting more clients, the referrals are coming in, you can't even deal with these clients, right? So you need to fucking train people at scale. That's when it's good. At your stage, bro, don't I wouldn't recommend it. At your stage, I would just prepare a document. It doesn't have to be like my docs where like I've got fucking paragraphs and it's all like fully built out, etc. I mean, you can, but you literally can just do like bullet points just for yourself to remember what you're going to talk about on the call. And then you get them on a call and then you go through it on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And then you're recording that Zoom call and that Zoom call becomes a lesson for the next chatters that come on board.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. I guess I've been doing that. I've been making like the first document that I made was a general OF 101, OF chatting 101, and I kind of send them that, and then my first lesson with them is basically just like literally just painting my brain and explaining everything that I do from start to finish when chatting to a fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, one good thing that you mentioned there is I need to record that call,
Yeah.
and then so I can send that to future chatters that come on board.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then you still need to shit test them, right? Like even if the new ones come on board and you've got all this recorded, don't just assume that they understand it or that they've even watched it. You need to double check it with people when they jump on a call, ask them, does this make sense? What about this? What about that? What would you do in this situation? And then that will give you a good indication whether they're watching or not. And it's also a red flag if they're just not paying attention or if they're not watching these things.
Yeah. Some people just can't be taught.
No,
So
no.
sweet.
But yeah, I think at your stage, definitely is just ramping up the chatting team. That's really like, I know client acquisition is good for you. I'm pretty sure marketing is going pretty well for you as well. It is just getting those chatters dialed in. Also, like when it comes to chatters as well, especially when it's a small team, really understand their personal goals. Like, what do they actually each individually want to achieve, and what are they working towards, as opposed
Yeah.
to just like they're just a staff member that clocks in and clocks out.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday. That was I asked one of them this morning on our call. Oh, I think it was last night actually. Literally right after the group coaching call, I just went, by the way, bro, what are your goals? And he's like, yeah, to fix my car. And I was like, oh, sweet. But what about after that? Do you want a new car or like are you looking to move out? And then we kind of went into a deeper conversation with that, which was good to have.
Yeah. And write these things down as well, by the way, because we're all human. Like, there's no way you're going to be able to remember what his goal is in 2.5 months, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
if you just write it down, keep it on like Trello or something, just that tiny little thing where in 2.5 months you can remember what he wanted and you say it to him, it means a lot.
yeah. No, definitely.
Well, what about you, Enzo? Where are you at in terms of things? Anything I can help you with?
I mean, I've been scaling so quick, bro, that like my head has been all over the place, man. I've been so stressed. I've got this thing going on. I've got to do that thing. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. Obviously, it's harder when you're on your own, but like, yeah, I've been scaling so quick in terms of earnings, in terms of obviously the clients I'm taking on board, and obviously their demand and stuff like that. Feel like, yeah, I feel like I'm at the point like where like we're like getting more, like the advanced sort of like coaching in a sense. Well, yeah, you can say advanced coaching, but more of the advanced sort of systems to keep putting in place. I'm kind of at that point now to keep
Good,
scaling up.
good.
Um, and yeah, start to put in some like really, like yeah, like hardcore sort of technical stuff in place. I've been
Do
trialing
you,
and testing a couple of things. Go on.
Enzo, one of the biggest things that whenever I do like one-on-one coaching and we implement this is like like whenever I look at like how I can help somebody is I look at, okay, what's like the highest leverage thing that we can do, meaning like what's the smallest amount of effort and energy that we can do something but it has the highest like reward, right? And one of them pretty much always is how you have the chatting team management set up. So like most people just have it on a WhatsApp group chat, but once we implement the way we do Discord, like it's a night and day difference in terms of results, the team morale, how connected everybody is, how aligned everybody is, and also avoiding a load of mistakes. So on Discord, they're able to share their screen as they're chatting, and you can just quickly, with one click of a button, look at what they're doing, and then with another click of a button, you can speak to them live, since they're obviously at their computer. If you haven't already got that, bro, definitely implement that.
On
Hmm.
your phone as well, because I have that implemented and it's honestly a game changer.
Okay. Yeah, this is something that I don't have implemented, so that is number
Bro, do
one
that.
on the list. Yeah, I don't have that implemented at the moment. At the moment, obviously, if I have one manager at the moment. I'm just like, with my team's obviously scaled big time, like in terms of obviously I've got your chatting team that I've had for ages, but now I'm on to like like more marketing techniques and stuff and more VAs for that. And then also yeah, having like a manager in place. Now the manager works like for 12 hours, so I don't have like three like managers for each shift and stuff like that. I have one for like 12 hours. This is just to kind of maybe like obviously keep some costs down and stuff like that, have a bit of profit and everything like that, even though everything's going good. And obviously trying and test things, see how that situation works, how I need to manage that sort of situation. I've been trying and testing team members, I've been trying and testing things inside of the agency as well. So like I've had some real like go at like mass message side of things. This is something I've been trialing for like the last week to seeing exactly what the best way to go about things were. And I've come to the conclusion. So I've tried like three ways, and I've come to the conclusion of the best way. I'm gonna ask you how you do yours and see if it aligns with mine. So how exactly do you do like your mass messages with your team?
Yeah, so it depends on the type of account that we have. I think pretty much all of our clients now are on girlfriend experience. So you know how I always say that
Hmm.
there's two kind of different archetypes. One is the mass pay-per-view, which is just sell, 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 sell. And then the other one is more just like your standard, it's a bit of sexting, sell some scripts, onto the next one. So if we're talking about that, we only send mass messages to people who have spent like less than $500 just to initiate conversations. And it's literally just anything to spark their curiosity and get them to just respond. So yeah, that means we don't send mass messages. And this is, I'm not talking about mass pay-per-views, even mass messages, we don't send them to whales or big spenders. So yeah, and then those specific mass messages, it will typically be around 2 to 3 a day. So whenever a new chatter comes on the next shift, that's when a new mass message will be sent out to kind of re-engage some like old conversations or new fans, etc. When it comes to mass pay-per-view messages, those ones are also very careful with. We do not send any mass pay-per-view messages to anybody who's subscribed for less than 3 days. So with Inflow, we have the smart list created, which automatically populates fans and removes fans if they've been subscribed for more or less than 3 days. So obviously, as soon as they've subscribed, they'll be in this specific list, and then after the fourth day, they'll be removed from this list automatically via Inflow, and then from then on, we can then actually send the mass pay-per-view messages as well. The reason why we do that, by the way, just so you lads know, I think I mentioned this before in a group call, but like that is like, I think a lot of people have this misconception of like, oh, like Reddit is where I find the whales. But one person who, this can be the same fan, let's just say, right? One fan. He can subscribe to one model, and this one model just sends him mass pay-per-view messages at $29.99, let's just say, as an example. And he's like, yeah, sweet, I'll buy that. Buy, 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 buy. And he's just happy buying these mass pay-per-view messages, right? From day one. Whereas, and so therefore he gets used to spending like $30, $35 here and there, $15 on the mass pay-per-view messages. Whereas, if it's a somebody like how we do it, for example, for the first 3 days, it is just manual conversations, and we're just trying to sell some scripts and trying to see how far we can take it. If he goes through the entire script, okay, it's a very green flag. Tomorrow does the same thing. Okay, probably looking like it's going to be a whale. The third day, if he does it again, okay, this is definitely going to be a whale, right? And all of a sudden, right, because we haven't sent him a bunch of mass pay-per-view messages and he hasn't been adjusted or used to like spending $30, he's just thinking, okay, well, like this model doesn't send it for that cheap. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, by the way? I don't know if I explained that clearly.
Yeah, it does make sense. Now I understand. I mean, I have something like I started with something similar, but then I wanted to just trial and test a couple things. Um, First thing I tried and tested, but for about 3 days was scheduling the mass messages and stuff. So do not do that. If anybody like literally like that's one thing like no, never do that. That was not good. So scrap that straight away. That was bad. And then the other two things I try with the online fans sort of section as well. Try to train the chatters to every half an hour to also to an hour. Send out like a message to the online fans. You know, on messages for you can use like the name feature and it puts their name into it. And then obviously you can exclude the people that have been sent for like the last hour or something like that, direct messages and stuff.
Yeah.
So we trial that. That works pretty good.
Mm.
But yeah, like what you've just said there, I've not fully implemented yet in terms of like, you know, like the smart list and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, bringing people subs in when they first subscribe and then taking them out. So that's something I'll definitely be cracking on with after as well. But yeah, that's in terms of like mass messages and stuff. And yeah, like I said, yeah, just you know, keep growing. Like I'm growing every single day. I spoke to you this morning about like a 1 or 2 bad days, which you know, I'm gonna look over, which I've been so stressed today, bro. Just been looking over like why is this happening? Why is this happening? Just trying to get to the bottom of why it was happening. But yeah, just either way, just yeah, I'm just still growing. I've got, you know, bigger plans for myself as well. Like I've got major plans, bro, like of, you know, not just being like the regular OF agency in these girls' DMs, you know, I've got like, you know, building like a brand sort of thing, like ideas in my mind and having yeah like you know stuff going on that goes way beyond than just yeah just OnlyFans management. Do you know what I mean? Implementing influencer celebrity lifestyle sort of stuff as well. So I'm in the works with that. That's just another thing in my head, just you know
Yeah.
added to the other 100 things. But yeah, overall, bro, I just wanted to ask like you know give me some maybe general advice, some tips on how to you know do things and keep improving and you know sign better client over time as well. You know like the clients that I thought were top tier clients over time when I'm signing new ones are like, right, no, they actually aren't top tier clients. So that keeps happening and keeps happening as well.
Mm.
So obviously my team changes quite a lot. And, you know, like, yeah, just with the, you know, with some clients that aren't actually on it, you know, sometimes like I thought 1 or 2 clients were really, really converting and stuff. But at the same time, now I look back, they weren't posting on the main page because they wanted
Yeah.
to keep it influencer based. They were posting on another page. You know, they was doing the TikTok dances, not listening to you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they were converting and earning money. But then yeah, over time. But yeah, just in general, like give me some advice on terms of like what to start doing now to hit. Like you know, I'm looking at I want to be doing freaking 100K by you know summertime in the summertime if I can. So yeah.
Bro, you can hit it. Yeah, I mean, it's April right now, but yeah, you can definitely hit it in the next month and a half. Um, that's also,
Hmm.
by the way, just one more thing that will also happen with staff members. Like you will think right now, if you both of you were to think about your 1 or 2 best staff members right now, you think that they're like, okay, these are like the people that I'm trying to look for, and then over like 6 to 12 months, you'll be like, oh, okay, no, these are the type of people because you hire somebody else who's like absolutely on ball, you know. But overall, like what things that I would look at, I mean, it's obviously a very, very broad question, you know, like it really depends. But overall,
Mm.
I always look at, you know, I think I said this on the last group coaching call. It's always do more, do better, and only then do new things. So what,
Hmm.
like in real life example, it's like, okay, well, if the client is only creating 1 script a week, well, can you ask her to do 2? Because the whale, if he's bought the script for the week, and he's already spent money and he's bought all the other things. You're just waiting for next week. Like what, there's nothing else you can buy, right? So just there you go, do more. That's more of that. Same with outreach, for example. If you're signing only one model a week, as an example, and you're averaging 40 messages a day, well, what if you were to do 80 messages a day? Right? All of a sudden, that's probably 2 clients a week. So that's obviously a very, very easy one, just doing more of what's already working. The second thing is doing it better. So what I'm like examples within doing it better. So if we're talking about marketing, one of the easiest ones is, okay, let's go through the last, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 reels and TikToks that have been posted. And out of all of those, let's just look at the outliers. So I don't mean necessarily like only the ones that got like 1 million+ views. No, like if on average your client is getting 20,000 views, look at the ones where she got 60,000 or 70,000 or 80,000 or more, right? And then really analyze those. What the fuck happened? What was it about those? And get them to recreate those, because clearly it already went viral. If they were just to recreate it, probably will go viral again. And then, well, actually, to be honest, that's kind of the first one, which is doing more. How would you improve it? Well, you can look at, okay, what can we physically improve within the content? Is it the editing? Is it physically the camera? Is it the background? Is it like physically hiring that videographer that I mentioned earlier, right? Does she just do all of her content on a tripod? If yes, then you can absolutely look at getting a in-person videographer. Within outreach as well, same thing, how you can do better. Well, instead of just sending the first message, what if you were to go back onto the profile, like a few photos or, and leave a comment? All of a sudden, there's a higher open rate. Or you just slightly tweak and adjust the first message. Let's just say you track the first message on Google Sheets, right? And then you track how many messages have been sent out with this specific message and then how many responded. Okay, in 2 weeks. So you want to split test it in every 14 days at least. And then the next 2 weeks, you just slightly tweak the message, and then you still do the same amount of outreaches, so 40 a day as an example. But then all of a sudden, if you've had like 1% higher response rate, again, 2 weeks is already a very short amount of time. Typically, you want to test things along like at least a month or so. But then, yeah, if you have a higher response rate, well, congratulations. Just that one tiny 1% increase could result to like dozens more clients across the year. So you see how you can just tweak that one little thing and that's already improved.
Hmm.
And then the last one, which is doing new things. So like, do any of your clients do live streams on OF? If not, you could try to look into things like this. Do any of your clients do games on OF? If not, you could try and implement this. So what I mean by games is, so for example, right now, again, it's literally 17th of April at the time of
Spin the
this
wheel.
call. Say again.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. We're doing spin the
Yeah.
wheel. There's another one which is like it's like basically 6 like Easter eggs. So it's obviously Easter themed because it's Easter. And then each like the Easter egg has like a number on it, 1 to 6. And then we literally just ask and obviously it's like a picture and then it's a crop out of the model and then like the 6 Easter eggs, whatever. And then we basically send it as a mass message for free to everybody. And it's like a game, and then the fan gets to choose like pick a number between 1 to 6. He'll pick one, whatever he wants. He'll pick 4 as an example, and then we send him what was in technically in Easter egg 4. You know what I mean? It's like a bundle or a sexting script, whatever. You see what I mean? And then he can pick the other ones as well. So that's a game, and all of a sudden, before you know it, within 48 hours, you've collected an extra couple $1,000s from just this little game. And if you were to never do that in the first place, you wouldn't have gained an extra couple thousand. So yeah, so like I know it's a very broad question, and that therefore it's kind of a broad answer, but it's always do more, do better, and only then do new things.
Hmm.
The last thing I'll mention as well, bro, specifically about that is look at internally where you think things are lacking. So, like, very, very easy example is, are your clients being left unread or just nobody responds to them for like more than a couple of hours? Obviously, excluding when you're asleep. But during the day, like, are you just so busy that your clients are not being responded to within like at least an hour? If so, then cool. You could look at hiring somebody to just respond to the messages, and just speaking with the clients. Obviously, this is a very risky hire, but eventually you will get one. Yeah, and then the other thing specifically for you, bro, is that Discord for your chatters. So is it a bit unorganized right now? Like another thing as well, a lot of people like somehow just ignore this, but you know the whole model info sheet, like when a client fills out the info sheet, etc. A lot of people don't actually like. Of course, the model will fill it out, but a lot of agencies, like I've learned this through doing a lot of these one-to-one calls. A lot of agencies don't actually like do an onboarding call with their team when they onboard a new client. So the client is not on this call. So it's you and your chatting team. You should go through that entire fucking thing so everybody has actually gone through and read it.
Hmm.
Like I know it seems like common sense, but it's crazy. Like a lot of people don't do that. The reason why that's super
Yeah.
important, by the way, is because, and again, I've seen this. To be honest, this has happened to us as well. I'll be honest. Like, of course, it's happened to us. It happens to everybody. But like, if the model info sheet doesn't state what she doesn't want to be sent. So, for example, sometimes models will have like content on their vault from like 2 years ago, and this is, by the way, this is a real life example. This literally happened a couple of weeks ago to me. And she'll have some very, very old photos and videos and just content like 2 years ago before she had a boob job, right? And the chatter just like accidentally just sent that, because he was trying to sell loads. He was speaking to a whale, blah blah. And she noticed it, and she obviously got very upset. She was like, why are they sending this? Like, obviously this is old, blah blah blah. Now technically our fault because we never like, I mean, it's kind of common sense, but still technically our fault. Like we never double checked with her, can we send it or not, and yeah, she was obviously like, look, like, please, can you not send it, blah, blah. So we just said, cool, no worries, we'll just delete it from the vault. And she was like, no, 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 like, can you please keep it on there because I just want it for memory's sake. Like, I don't keep these photos and videos on my camera roll, but I'd like to keep it on OF. I'm like, okay, fine. So you name it like do not send in capital letters with the red emoji, like X thing. So anyway, that's to say, like dialing in that, like that can avoid so many little headaches and problems. And if you avoid things like this, all of a sudden your retention can go up and you can retain clients for a lot longer. And yeah, all of a sudden, you retain a client for an extra 6, 12 months, it made you an extra 50, 100K a month or a year, sorry. No, depending on what size they are.
Hmm. Okay, amazing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously I do have a Discord and everything with all the information and everything like that. I think the only thing that I need to implement is obviously having them share the screen. That's one thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we're touching on outreach. I mean, I do about 150 a day. About 150 a day, but I could probably increase that to even more. Probably even get another account of mine, to set up another account. And then that could, yeah, maybe even increase that to another, I don't even know, like 200 or something. I tried to do 30 a day on my personal as well. It just gets hard because I've got so much stuff to do. But I try to, as soon as I wake up, like before our call, I try to
Yeah.
just bang out 30 as I can. But sometimes I kind of like have other things going on when I wake up and something's or whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can improve. The outreach is decent, but I could improve it for sure. Um, and but that's definitely the first thing that I'm going to implement is the Discord thing. Just more marketing as well. Obviously, I've got a VA on the job now. I mean, I'm really big on Instagram and like I'm pretty confident I know what I'm doing on Instagram. Like I'm like
Yeah.
a little bit of an Instagram whiz with things. Like it's my main like source. Like I know how to run that, know how to set stuff up. And then other things like threads, outsource Reddit and stuff. Them are like my big three. But yeah, once I've got them cracked as well, but specifically for the like the high quality clients who really want it, which I have about probably say out of my team around three or four of them are like high quality, like yeah, they're on it, like they're ready and stuff. The others are more like yeah, tier two, tier three.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I probably just like you say, focus on them, make sure everything's going with that, and yeah, just keep going. I've got good plans for the future. Hopefully, yeah, like the rest of this year, even going into next year and stuff to to be scaled up and doing really really big numbers. Hopefully, so yeah,
Good. The,
that's
the
it,
other,
bro. That's it from me.
I think the last two things I just mentioned about is one is like team calls, making sure you boys are doing team calls every day,
Hmm.
Monday to Friday. I think a lot
Hmm.
of people neglect that and they think just because it's an online business, like you don't have to speak to the
Yeah.
team because they're overseas and blah blah. No, like every single day you must have a team call. And then the other thing as well, which we haven't spoken about in ages, is like the referrals, like within your own clients. So, like, both of you lads have been doing absolutely amazing. So I'm sure your clients are very, very happy. But how many times, like how many referrals have you actually gotten from them and actually signed, you know? So dial that in as well. So whenever a client is very happy, jump on a call with them, ask them if they have any friends that would also be interested in, working with yourself. If they say yes, find out who it is there and then. Don't just be like, okay, like eventually you can refer them to me. Thank you so much. Like there and then be like, okay, cool. Who is it? Like, do you mind just creating a group chat right now? Just so we can get started with that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those. I've had a couple referrals. They do come in every now and again. Sometimes they're maybe not as converting as the model that refers them. But I have a model recruiter as well. I think I spoke to you about that briefly a couple of days ago on the group call.
Mm,
Massive IG page who obviously does like recruitment for me.
hmm
Yes, that goes pretty decent. And then I'm also in the process of bringing on another one as well. So yeah, like client acquisition, hopefully in the next couple of months will really step up and increase. Um, and yeah, like that's mainly it, bro. Yeah, like I mean, so like in terms of the team call thing, also that was wanted to go back on. So I have team calls. I don't have them as frequent as you, which I'm gonna 100% get in. How do you go about the team calls when you have it? So your team is like mainly based in South Africa, bro. So the time is okay. When you've got a couple of Filipinos on board, or like, how do you gauge that?
Even to be fair, bro, and again, there's no right or wrong, but this is just at least how I have it set up. I personally don't jump on calls with the chatters anymore. I used to, of course, but I don't, I haven't for a very long time now. My team call in the morning is me, my business partner, head of marketing, head of client acquisition, a VA that does client acquisition outreach, and then obviously the chatting team manager. Those are the people that are like on the team call. Every now and then we'll bring in somebody specific as well, but mainly that's like the six people that we jump on calls with. And then like for a lot of these departments, they also have staff members underneath them. So if and when we need something, I just ask one of them to then sort it. I don't speak to the chatters directly. Now, obviously, if you don't have like that big of a team just yet, it's completely fine. I mean, yeah, there's no other two ways about it. You just got to work out a time that works with your staff, like majority of them. Whether that is
Hmm.
super late for you or early for them, I mean, whatever it is, but just make sure it doesn't fuck up the sleeping schedule. Because like the team calls are important, but at the same time, it's like them doing the chatting is more important for chatters specifically, you know?
Hmm.
And also, like for example, if let's just say your chatting team is from Philippines, let's just say, but however your random example, but let's just say your marketing is in USA, you can always do two calls in a day, two team calls. So
Hmm.
one of them is with the chatting team, and then late, like couple hours later, 5 hours later, it's with the marketing team, as an example. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Of course. Yeah, great.
Yeah. But obviously,
Yeah, makes sense.
ideally, it's all in one call because then you can just shoot ideas across. Because like the chatting, this is the other thing I'll kind of leave with this. Because a lot, like sometimes we get models that are like, oh, can you just do my marketing? Or vice versa, or can you just do my chatting? It's like physically, sure, we can try. But the reason why I hate doing that is because both of those things have to be aligned to make the most amount of money. You can make a lot of money with just doing one, but if both of those aspects are aligned, you'll make way more. So again, to give you a real life example right now, like literally that's what I've been talking and doing today and yesterday, the Easter promo. Like we're not only advertising on OnlyFans with mass messages, the wall posts, mass pay-per-views that are going to be going out, the not safe for work content, etc. But we're also promoting it on social media. Like we're promoting on socials that we've got a game coming up and all these things, which is obviously going to drive a hell of a lot more traffic, new fans that wouldn't have converted otherwise. And the ones that do come over and do convert from socials after we've announced the game, they already know what it is. They know that it's a game. Whereas if, let's just say, we were just doing chatting for a client, yeah, sure, new fans would come in, but then we have to explain to them what is it and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah.
Hmm.
But cool, boys. I'm gonna jump off. You boys are absolutely smashing it. Really, really proud of you guys. Yeah.